This series has turned out to be way more popular than I ever thought it would be, and I guess that's because it's just what I do every day. So I'm glad that this has turned out to be a popular series. This is a pressing unboxing video. I have a box here from one of my customers. I'm going to open it up. We're going to take a look at the issues, and based on your feedback, I will do some before and after examples. So we're going to go through his issues that he sent me. This is Jim, also named Jim, one of my customers who's a regular customer of mine, sends me stuff all the time. He's great. So, and I appreciate him giving me permission to use his issues in this video. So we're going to go through his issues. I'll take one or two out and we'll do a deep dive into the flaws, but then I will record the after, so you can see how the flaws get fixed and if they get fixed completely or, partially, and what that looks like. That's based on your feedback. That's what you told me you wanted from these videos. So that's really important. Please keep giving me your feedback. Please keep telling me what you want to see, and I'll do my best to incorporate them in these videos. Also, you said you love the tips and tricks, so we're going to start off each video with a tip or trick, and today we're going to talk about how to spot when a label has been removed from an issue. So let's go to the history of labels on Sports Illustrated. There were always labels on there, except for the very first issue. So the very first issue, Volume 1, Issue 1, there are no mailing labels on that issue at all. Because the people that had subscribed in advance of the first issue coming out, it was mailed in like a bag and the address label was printed on the outside. So, but other than that, there's always been mailing labels. Now, vintage issues, sometimes for vintage issues, you've got to look vertically along the spine. Typically, we think of the mailing label being on the lower left. A lot of times in vintage issues, you'll see them vertically along the spine. So when you're looking for label remnants, you got to look, especially the older ones, vertically along the spine. And then for any issue, obviously you start in the bottom left-hand corner, but you got to look anywhere along the bottom because some of them, I've seen labels on the right side, in the middle, higher up than you would normally think. Those are probably printing misprints or errors. They weren't designed that way, but you got to look there. And then in the early to mid 90s, Sports Illustrated moved to what's called the white box label. So this was not a label that was printed and then adhesed or glued onto the cover. The cover was actually printed with a blank white box where then the mailing address would be printed in there. That happened in the early to mid 90s. And it wasn't just like one day we're printing labels and the next day we're printing white box. So kind of keep that in mind as well. So when you're spotting, label remnants or to see if there was a label there, a couple things to look for. You want to look for glue residue. That's the most common thing. You also want to look for ink that has come off because no label, or at least I've never seen a label, that can be removed 100% clean. You either leave behind glue residue or you take off the ink. So look at it closely. Couple little techniques. Get yourself one of these. You get these for like $30 on Amazon. Little ring magnifying light with an LED light behind it. That helps because not only does it give you great lighting, but it gives you that magnification on there. The other thing that can sometimes help too is a black light. And let me tell you how I use a black light. I just bought a cheap, black light flashlight on Amazon. Obviously, you want to be in a really dark room. So when I'm using a black light to look for label remnants, I always go into like my walk-in closet back there in my office and shut the door because it's pitch black. So you want to shine that on the cover where you would normally see a label, but here's a little trick to also help you spot that where I've seen them, where I haven't seen them looking on the cover, but you try this and all of a sudden it shows up pretty clearly. Open the cover and take the black light and shine it kind of on the back of the cover. So you're like looking at what would be page 2, I guess, and look at it there and then go a step further. Open the cover, look at the front cover, but shine the black light behind the front cover. There's a couple of good little tips and tricks that'll hopefully allow you to maybe spot some label remnants and keep you from getting stuck with a dreaded subscription edition on your slab label when you think it's a newsstand. All right, let's dig into this box and see what we got. I'm going to open this thing right now. All right, picked a good box. I never know. I just kind of grab a random box in my queue when I get ready to shoot these videos, and I never know what these issues are, but picked a very interesting one this time. So let's take a look at this. 5 vintage issues. Look at this copy of Sport Magazine. This is from May 1951. You see DiMaggio there. Gosh, I'm terrible at recognizing these old timers. There's Ruth. Ty Cobb. Very cool. Interesting issue. Yeah, don't see this one very often, if at all. Very, very uncommon. This is a copy of Baseball Yearbook. And that is Ted Williams on the cover. Lou Boudreau in the inset there. But this is from 1950. I get these questions all the time. In fact, earlier today, somebody sent me a text message or a DM and sent me a bunch of pictures from some oddball publications like this. And hey, Jim, what do you think? And how much are these worth? I've said this before. This is a growing hobby, but it is still tiny, especially compared to comics and sports cards. And many of these publications, especially kind of these oddball publications like this, a lot of times none of these copies have ever been graded before. Everything outside of Sports Illustrated is still pretty much speculative. And so I get people that complain all the time, oh, Jim, I'm trying to buy this graded Sports Illustrated, but I can't find any comps on it. What do you think it's worth? So if we're having trouble finding comps for Sports Illustrated graded issues, which are 95% of this hobby, we're not going to have any comps on something like Baseball Yearbook from 1950. Doesn't mean you shouldn't get it graded. Doesn't mean you shouldn't collect them. Doesn't mean they're not cool. I just have no idea what the market interest is in these. And I don't know if we're ever going to find out what the market's interest is in these unless you buy one, grade it, and put it up for a straight auction. But they're cool, and I like this one a lot. Ted Williams on the cover. All right, the rest are all Sports Illustrated. This is very cool. Whitey Ford, this is his first Sports Illustrated cover. This is from September 10th, 1956. I can already tell you, we're going to feature this one on the before and after portion. Let's see if we can take a look at it. That is now this is going to be difficult. That's some pencil writing there, but that's also a tear in the top of the magazine. That is going to be very difficult to properly clean effectively with that tear right there, because obviously to clean it, we're going to be putting some pressure on it and, kind of putting some pressure left horizontally on this issue and right where that tear is. So we're going to have to be very careful, but this is cool. Whitey Ford, first cover. Another one, Hank Bauer, first cover, July 22nd, 1957. Couple of nice Yankee covers there. This one also has a ton of dirt on it, as most of these vintage issues do. And then I'm glad this is at the bottom because we saved the best one for last. Come on, Jackie Robinson, First Time magazine cover, September 22nd, 1947. Now this one is beat up pretty good. This is also the Pacific Overseas edition. That was typical with Time back in the day. They would issue different versions for different parts of the world. So it would be a U.S. edition and a Canadian edition, Latin America, Pacific, and European, and Middle Eastern, and African, and all these sorts of things. And at various times throughout Time's history, sometimes they would produce an African or a Middle East version. Sometimes they wouldn't. So it's kind of all over the place. I own this issue at 6.5, and mine is a Canadian edition. So pretty cool. Jackie Robinson, first Sports Illustrated cover. The other thing I get all the time too is, oh, geez, I can't believe they never put Jackie Robinson on the cover of Sports Illustrated. What a crime. Well, you got to think. Sports Illustrated didn't start until 1954, and I think Jackie Robinson retired in 57. 57, 58, 59. I think 57 he retired it. And you have to remember that in the first 2 or 3 years of Sports Illustrated, it was more sporting lifestyle than sport, especially that first year, 1954, and a lot in 1955 too. You had dogs on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and skiing and scuba diving, deep sea fishing and rodeo and all these other kind of leisure activities or leisure sports as opposed to professional sports. So that's why Jackie Robinson makes a little bit more sense as to why Jackie Robinson never made it to the cover of Sports Illustrated during his playing days. Okay, those are the 5 issues. I'll pick a couple of them out, the ones that I find most interesting based on who's on the cover and the flaws, and then we'll show you the flaws, and then I'll show you the after results after I've pressed those issues. Okay, let's take a look at this Whitey Ford issue. Yeah, definitely got just tons of bends all over the place. Little guys, those will get cleaned up. These spine ticks down here are going to be a lot harder. What I expect to see is those to be improved, but not gotten out 100%. You're talking about 70 years, and the fibers of the paper are broken, and so those spine ticks will always remain, but they'll end up looking better. Got a stain there. That won't come out in the cleaning process. And then we've got all this dirt. Having done this a million times, my guess is most of this dirt, or at least a good portion of it, is going to be permanent, but the cleaning process should improve at least some of it. Now we're going to look at this right here. Now I'm going to do my best to get that pencil out of there, but let's take a look at this tear. So you can see that tear is right there. So the cleaning process is going to be very careful to make sure that tear doesn't get exposed and doesn't tear deeper. I'm just taking a quick peek. I'll do a deeper dive when I actually work on this issue, but always got to check your interior pages. First thing I always do is go straight to the centerfold. Good thing here is the centerfold is intact, but what we do have, if I can get it to focus, is a little bit of staple rust. Yep, you can see it better right there. Little bit of staple rust. And what that is, that's when these issues are not stored in a climate-controlled environment. Think about it. If you're storing this in a garage, an attic, a storage unit, those staples are metal. I don't know if we'll see any rust here. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit better on this one. So those staples are metal, and so when the temperature changes at night, it gets cold, and so the metal gets cold and holds on to that coldness because it conducts heat and cold. And then as the day goes on and warms up, the humidity cranks up, you get condensation on that cold metal, and that's where you get staple rust. Should be fun to see the before and after on this one. Okay, this baby has been pressed and cleaned. Let's take a look at the results. Spine tick looks a little bit better. I mean, they're still there, but they look a little bit better. Actually, got a little bit of improvement on that stain. Where the real benefit came, this dirt came out a lot better than I thought it would. Now, you've still got some staining here that wouldn't come out, especially right there. But it cleaned up a lot nicer than I thought it would. And the highlight, look at that. That pencil marking with the date there is completely gone, and no additional damage with that tear at the top. So this one came out really nice. Cleaned up some nice little dents on the back and some bends on the back, but there's the before and after on this Whitey Ford. Big success, especially as it relates to the cleaning aspect. You know I had to do a deep dive on the Jackie. Come on, this is beautiful. Very interesting. So my copy of this issue is printed on different paper, and obviously it has different ink. Again, remember, this is the Pacific Overseas edition. This is, and the cover included, feels more like newspaper paper. Which is a much cheaper paper. And so I'm going to have a difficult time cleaning this. My guess is I'm not going to get any improvement on the cleaning aspect of this. I'm guessing 100% that's a stain. It's a little bit of a debris. I'll probably be able to get a little bit of the debris off, but the stain will remain. That one I may be able to clean. So this one versus mine, this paper here is a lot darker. It's not as white as mine. It's not dirty. It's just, again, printed on that newsprint paper. And again, let's take a look at the interior pages. Yeah, I'm going to have a hard time cleaning that up completely. Probably can improve it, but all those ripples there, there's some more right there. Those are going to be really difficult to clean, but we'll try. We'll see what we can do. Definitely want to look at the staples on this one. I'm not even at the centerfold yet. You can already see some staple rust bleeding through to the rest of the paper. Yeah, these staples are badly rusted, and you've got rust that has transferred into and stained the magazine. That's mold right there. That's not coming out. Should be a fun issue to work on. Here's the back. Got a little bit of the red transferring here, Again, I doubt that any of that is going to be able to come off because, again, this is a newsprint paper with absolutely no gloss on it at all. So we'll go through the before and after. Now the Jackie. This is beautiful. Okay, so despite my best efforts, none of this staining came off. But where we really saw the improvement here is on the interior pages. So let's take a look here. If you remember, carefully pick this up because this magazine is very delicate. If you recall, we had a lot of bending on these interior pages, and all of that is dramatically better. We also had a lot of creasing in the top corners. That looks dramatically better as well. So no improvement as it relates to the staining on this issue, but again, the big success was on these interior pages. I mean, that was all rippled and crunched down there in the corner. Looks a lot better now, and I love this issue. Love to see some vintage issues making an appearance on a pressing unboxing video. Again, shout out to Jim, whose issues those were. It's my customer. Was really happy with the cleaning results on that Whitey Ford first cover. You know, with modern issues, we're shooting for a 9.8, and so we're talking about, you know, getting flaws completely wiped out and completely fixed. Vintage issues, it's more likely that we're talking about degrees of improvement. And so while not all of the dirt and staining came off that Whitey Ford issue, a lot more came off than I thought. And I love that I was able to get that pencil marking off of there. And we had some nice results on those interior pages in the Jackie Robinson issue. New pressing unboxing video every Thursday. New regular unboxing video every Monday. This Monday's unboxing video, pretty interesting. Got a Steph Curry first cover. Got the results of a Kraken press. And something weird happens. I just recorded it a little while ago, and so something very odd and interesting happens in that unboxing video, and I can't explain it, and I don't know what to think about it, and it's just weird. So that's coming up on Monday's unboxing video. If you're interested in my comic and magazine cleaning and pressing service, drop a comment. Shoot me a DM on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, eBay, Facebook groups. It's all the same username as here, CGC Sports Illustrated. And I really do appreciate you watching, and thanks so much.